my name is Robert Robles. Right now I'm driving this Mark V Supra. So funny story, I remember when I was still around 10 years old, we used to live out in Florida, just outside of Daytona Beach, at a city called Ormond Beach. And my dad at the time had a 190E 2.3 16 valve. And we took a trip out to Orlando, which is a 2-hour drive. And after leaving Orlando, he actually told me to sit in the front seat, and he let me steer the car the whole 2-hour drive home. And he kept asking me like, hey, are you good? Do you want to stop? And I was like, no, this is the best. Like, it just kept driving with it. And I think that's really what got me into cars. Yes, definitely. You know, all my friends, we were all into cars, especially my family too. My dad's a car guy, my brother. I remember days where our driveway would be full. We'd have cars on jack stands and we'd spend the whole weekend, you know, wrenching on cars. Yeah, so the car scene while I was growing up was it was totally different from how it is today. There was no social media. Everything was kind of like word of mouth. There was no internet really, so a lot of the cars back then were just starting to have OBD2, where you could actually do diagnostics and read out your codes with a computer. It's like, oh, your car's doing something wrong. Like, you can actually read out what's wrong with it instead of having to like check it out, you know, take stuff apart and test this is working, that's not working. But the cool thing was, you know, that brought people together, and we all helped each other out, trying to fix one problem or do something new on this car. Nowadays, it's like all that information's on the internet, and obviously social media is taking a big effect too. Yeah, the first dream car was probably the Ferrari F40. My first car was a 1991 325i sedan in black. It was a manual. That's the car that I learned how to drive manual on. It's the car that my dad took me out for my first drive. And when we did that first drive, you know, he didn't know, like he was expecting me to not know how to drive the car. But little did he know that I used to sneak out at night, you know, and drive the car without him knowing. So the first time he went in the car with me to drive, he was like, how are you driving the car so well right now? You didn't stall, you didn't do anything. But that car was, my dad's kind of a purist, so that car, we kept it pretty stock besides putting some springs and lowering springs on it. And I think like a Anza exhaust, I think, yeah. Oh, the Supra, I've tried to keep it mild. We've done wheels from Titan 7. It's got iBox springs on it. One of the first things I did was the EVS fenders. And around that time is when I put the Injen intake and the charge pipe on, just because I know how awesome the intake sounds. So it's like something you can drive with every day and you hear that sound. Besides that, the other favorite parts of the car, the roll cage that we make. And then most recently I did a matte PPF wrap on the car and the Maxarito aero kit with the side skirts, the front lip, and then a Varus engineering rear diffuser. I have some JRZ 3-ways for the car, but I'm not sure if I want to go that crazy with the suspension. It's kind of nice, you know, I daily drive this car, so I want to keep it mild, but also we take it to the track, you know, at least once a month. So debating on whether to do suspension or keep the stock springs and do SPL control arms and do the whole 9 with adjustable suspension geometry. So Injen first came to my mind back in high school. Like all of my friends, we all were into cars. And again, this isn't in LA, this is in Bakersfield, California. And everyone had an Injen lanyard or a keychain. And I chose Injen for this car simply because I heard the way it sounds. And obviously, you know, the intake has a nice heat shield on it. So it checked all the marks for me. It's something that I could hear and enjoy every day, but it's also functional where it blocks the heat and you still get that cold air going into the car. Plus the red too, the red is an accent color. So I really like the red. Cool, so my name's Robert Robles again. I want to thank the guys from Injen for coming today and checking out the car and what we've done so far. I love the intake and the charge pipe. If you guys want to see more of this build and see what else we work on here at Studio RSR, our website's studiorsr.com and our Instagram is @StudioRSR. Thanks guys.